Wow, that's so inspiring. And it's just amazing to see the books as well, to see how it starts off with those doodles and, as you say, playing. Well, we've had lots and lots of questions from you all over the country, as you can imagine, far too many to get through. But we'll see how many we can race through. And also we've got a couple of questions from some people here.
Great.
So I think we'll go first of all to this girl in the front row. You can maybe say what your name is and what your question is to David.
My name's Emily. And what sort of books did you read that you liked as you were growing up?
When I was growing up, how old are you?
13.
13. When I was 13, my favourite writer was a writer called John Wyndham. John Wyndham wrote, his most famous book was The Day of the Triffids. Has anybody read The Day of the Triffids? Fantastic book, so I really love John Wyndham. And I loved reading myths and legends, especially the King Arthur stories. And a writer that was mentioned earlier, Enid Blyton. When I was young, Enid Blyton was everywhere. Lots of writers.
Great, thank you very much. And we've got another question from the young man in the second row here. What's your name?
Grant.
Hi, Grant.
Hi.
What inspired you to become an author?
What inspired me to become an author? It's really hard to say. I think my uncle Amos did, the printer, and he also wrote poems and stories that were never published, but he didn't care. He just loved writing. So I think Amos, being a baby in his printing shop, other books that I loved, and sometimes you've got no idea why you want to be the thing you want to be. It's just something drives me to write. I want to write. It's what I love to do.
Thank you very much. I bet you love the smell of print as well as
I love the
looking
smell
at
of print,
it.
I do, and the feel of the book.
Oh, they're lovely things.
Yeah.
Right, here are some questions from Robert Gordon's College in Aberdeen. Many people have asked the questions that you two have asked here too. But a question about Skellig. How long did it take to write Skellig? And that comes from Miriam.
Hi, Miriam. Skellig took me, I know it took 7 months. I began in August and I finished in February, which I think is 7 months. And it was a book that was really weird and powerful to write because it just seemed to happen. You know, often I hardly had to, it felt like I wasn't writing a lot of the time. It was like writing in a dream. And people write essays about Skellig now and they say that was really clever the way you did that on page 27 that matched up with this on page 92. And I say it was, wasn't it? And I don't know how I did it.
So not too much planning then.
Not for that one.
We have a question from Kames School in Edinburgh. This is from Thomas. Hi, Thomas, who knows a bit about you. He says, I believe your first novel, Seances, was rejected by every publisher in the country. Sorry to remind you of this. Will you publish this book in the future?
Hi. No, I'll not. It was literally rejected by every single publisher. 33 publishers all across Great Britain wrote to me and said, this isn't good enough. So then, you know, you feel a bit stupid. I'd spent 5 years writing this book. And I felt a bit stupid. I thought, well, so what? I think I'll write another book. So I wrote another book. And so the daft thing is now, if I sent that novel to any publisher would say, oh, this is really interesting, Mr. Almond, thank you very much. But I've kind of used it as almost as a treasure chest, so that novel has fed into lots of other novels. And you learn how to write by writing. I learned how to write by writing that novel that was never published. So it didn't matter.
It's a great question, because I guess there are people here and watching all over the country who might think, right, you're inspiring me to write.
Yeah.
But if they get rejected, they might be put off by just one rejection.
One rejection, when I go and give talks, I often take a file of my rejections, and I have dozens and dozens of rejections. And I have rejections for the same story that says, dear David, dear Mr. Almond, I'm really sorry, this story is far too strange for our readers. And then I have a rejection for exactly the same book. Dear Mr. Almond, sorry, this story is far too traditional for our readers. You just have to, you'll get rejected. Anything you want to do, you'll get rejected. There'll be people who say you can't do it, and there's got to be one person that believes that you can do it. And who's that? You. You can believe. The world's full of people who say, you can't do that. But you can do extraordinary things. Really, you can.
Great. This question comes from St Columba's RC Hind and Fermlin, Class 1 EN1. Hello, hope you're all watching. And the question is, David, from all the characters that you've created in your novels and stories, which one do you most identify with, if there are any, and why?
Well, weirdly, when I wrote Mina, Mina's a sort of, adolescent girl. I'm obviously not an adolescent girl. But there was something about Mina that drew out something from me. So I weirdly felt very close to Mina. She was somehow a kind of mentor or something inside me. But also other characters like Kit in Kit's Wilderness, Kit tells the story of Kit's Wilderness, and I felt very close to Kit when I was writing that.